who is here. So we have Saif, we have Jamie, we have Abir, we have Johnny. No, she's here. We have
no, but she hasn't been here in a while, so she's long lost.
Okay, we have. Okay. Well, hey, let me finish the names. So we have Miriam, we have Vida, we have Jamila. Did I miss somebody? One person. Moyu. Okay, I didn't see Moyu. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And Haruki's here.
Sorry, Richard. Sorry.
Huh?
But unfortunately, so I can't stay with you. Just I wanted to tell you.
Oh, hello.
See you next week, inshallah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Have fun cooking. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye. Salam. Okay. All right. So.
Haruki's here too.
Yeah. I called everybody, right? I didn't leave anybody out, right?
And I think you forgot him. Oh, well, I got him.
Yeah, I think the only people that were here that left. Aman was here. She left. Rashid was here. Rashid's back.
Yeah, Rashid here.
Johnny, Hiroki. Okay, so welcome everybody to another wonderful. Hang on.
And Rick sipped his coffee.
I've got my coffee. So welcome everybody to the discussion. What's today? June the 22nd. The topic is going to be, trust and forgiveness. Talk about the impact of losing trust in someone, how to gain that trust back. Talk about forgiveness, both for yourself and others, okay? So we often find it sometimes easier to forgive others and not ourselves. So we want to think about that as well, okay? Mm-hmm. So anybody have any questions about the topic? Any questions?
What if we haven't had anybody betray us? Then what?
Well, then you've lived a pretty good life, okay?
I can't think of anybody offhand who's done that.
Okay, well then you've been pretty fortunate, okay? Yeah. That's all I gotta say, okay? All right. So, any questions at all about the topic or what we're gonna do? No questions.
No.
Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. And also, it looks like was it Masood? Masood has joined us. Okay, is that Masood or Masood? Masood, right? Okay.
Wow.
Masood has joined us, so welcome. And I think he's also in Algeria, right? Yeah. When I saw some chat, I think he's in Algeria. All right. So, no questions before we begin?
Nope.
We're all on the same page?
Yeah, huh? I think, yeah.
On the same boat.
We're on the same, in the same boat?
In the same boat. Same page. It means the same thing. We're all together. We're all together. We're on the same.
Okay.
In the same boat, on the same page means like we're on the same page. Same page. It's sort of like an idiom. We all know what we're doing.
Okay. So let's begin. Let's begin with Saif. Saif, can you please start us off?
Oh, I can't start. I want to listen a little bit, then I will speak later on. Why don't you go ahead and start for us, or let Jamila go?
Well, the next person after you was Jamie, so we'll let Jamie start, okay?
Well, like I said, I really can't think of any offhand. Although, wait a minute. This is a pretty tough one, bro. Like I said, Richard, I've had a pretty good life. No one's betrayed me that I can remember. But if someone did betray me, I would try and get together with that person. Not I wouldn't shut them out. Offhand. I wouldn't toss them aside, but I would try and try to get together with them and just say, okay, why did you do this? I mean, is there a way that we can figure this out? And I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna throw you aside. Right, that wouldn't be right. So is there a way that we can come to an agreement and try to reconcile what you did? Because your friendship is very important to me, and I don't want to lose you right now. So that's what I would do. Hajimela.
Okay. So Jamie, let me ask you a question, okay?
Sure.
And also welcome Amadeus, okay?
Oh, well, I'm listening.
Okay. So Jamie, let me ask you a question. My question is that even if you feel you haven't had anybody betray you, I think we all go through life with some sense of betrayal. I think it's pretty much impossible.
Right.
So let me ask you about forgiveness, though. Okay, let's say somebody betray you. Which is for you? Which is harder, to forgive yourself for something or to forgive other people? So if you do something wrong to somebody, is it harder for you to forgive yourself, or is it harder to forgive other people if you feel they have wronged you?
Well, it depends. I think it's probably easier, harder to forgive myself. Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, thinking about I'm thinking about self-forgiveness. Heather. Rick. There was one time that Hiroki and I were talking, and he had just gone through a personal tragedy. And I thought, because of the tragedy, he needed some time to heal. So I hung up the call. So then he told me, then I figured out, maybe I should have stayed with him a little longer, because I really felt bad that I was glad that I could help him, but I wish I could have stayed longer to help him. So sorry, Haruki. Sorry.
Okay, but that's different.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying specifically, if you feel somebody has wronged you,
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Probably forgive myself because I did something wrong.
Okay.
Then,
So you feel
then forgive the other person.
Okay. Fair enough. Anybody have any questions for Jamie?
May I ask?
Sure.
If you don't mind?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think you asked forgiveness about himself, not people, those who deceived him, right? Or because I already joined, I don't know the conversation before you did.
Yeah, what I'm asking is that which is harder to do, to learn to forgive yourself for something you've done, or to forgive others for things they've done to you. Some people, for example, find it very easy to forgive other people, but they find it very difficult to forgive themselves for something they've done, right? So that's kind of the point, which is harder to do. And I think,
may I say my opinion? If Jamie finished.
Yeah.
Jamie, did you finish?
Yeah, I finished.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
I think it's all about the value. What you have a value and what is a red limit for you. For example, some mistakes are not, not easy to forgive. This is changeable. This can be changed. This can change from person to person. Did you get my point? I don't know how to give an example. And also it's related with I also including cheating with the couples. Okay, I'm including cheating, not only friends. This is all about your emotions. Like in a family, for example, when your son or when your daughter is naughty, he does some mistake because you love him or you love her, you can be tolerant towards him or her because your emotions block your perception that he did something wrong or not. But the same mistake, if it was happened or occurred by any other person, maybe you can be so angry and it can be your red limit. Okay, one point is for me, it is about your emotions and your attitude towards other people. The other point is, for example, if someone forgets something accidentally, for example, you will meet with your friend in a square in your country or in your state, but he forgot it, and you know him that he didn't do this intentionally. Even he did intentionally, maybe you can be tolerant towards him, but some mistakes maybe it can be very important for you, and it is maybe, I don't know, I cannot remember, I cannot give an example. This is about all your value table. I mean, what is very important for you, what is the average,
Amadeus, hold on, Amadeus. Well, if the person I was supposed to meet, that's called standing up. If that only happened once, then that's okay. But if they keep standing me up many times, then I would question him. Because maybe the first time, something come up, and then but he didn't call me. But if he does this like many times, then I'd begin to question if we should stay friends or not.
Yeah. Also, time period. Maybe you can be angry. Right. You can be angry in 2 days, 3 days, and always think that, oh my God, why he did or why she did. But later, when time passes, when you will calm down, maybe you can be so tolerant and you can forgive him or her. And I always say, and in as much as I can try to do it, in 3 situations, people shouldn't give decision, crucial decision. One of them is when you are angry, because your mind is blowing up, and you cannot think logically and well. The other is when you are drunkard, when you are drunk. It's not easy for you to give a decision. The third one is never mind.
well, one thing that you said that I think is really important is if we think about the types of things that we feel cause us to feel betrayed is based upon our values, right? What we hold as values. So if we hold trust as one of the most important values, of course, when we feel betrayed, it's going to have a large impact on us. If we feel somebody lied to us, it's going to have a large impact on us. Now, maybe our value system, it's not that important. Honestly, maybe it's not so important. So if people don't tell us the truth, we're not going to feel that bad about it. We're not going to feel like that. So you made a good point, which is our value system. In some relationships, for example, if you're in a relationship and you're in what we call a committed relationship, then that person not cheating on you or that person not doing something on you, okay, that's very, very important. Other people live in relationships where it's okay to see different people, okay? So it all depends upon your values. That drives those things, okay? So that's a really good point.
One more thing, if you don't mind, I want to share my idea about this.
Sure.
To gain someone's trust can be easier than to keep her or his trust. Did you get, especially in the relations, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife and husband, generally men are trusted, not, how can I say, women cannot trust easily, but when they trust, they keep their loyalty. But, to gain or to get someone's trust is easier than the former one. But here's the point. It's not easy to keep someone's trust forever or longer.
Well, I think that, and I'm going to talk about this shortly when I speak, but definitely, we're human beings. We're not. Nobody's perfect. So
hold on a second.
Okay. What's that?
Hey, don't tell me you're perfect, Johnny.
What's that?
Yeah, I heard something that I think is worth looking into. He just said that when women trust, they keep their trust, they are loyal, but men don't do the same. Where did he get that?
Generally, I didn't generalize. Commonly, I said.
But yeah,
If
but
you look
where
at
did
the
you get that
statistics
idea
about,
that generally they do that?
If you look at the statistics, if you search them, you will see.
I see, and it's not like you said, so that's what I'm asking. Where did you get idea? Because it's not what I see in reality.
At least in my country. I don't know your country.
Okay.
But if you want, I can. If you want, I can offer you some statistics, and this official statistics.
Statistics is not no. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Argentine culture isn't that complicated.
When you search divorcing trial case, majority of cases at the risk of cheating by man. Generally.
Yeah.
That was my point. That's why I tried to clarify in that way.
Okay. All right. So thank you. Let's go ahead and get to some other folks. We'll have a chance to have more of a quote unquote heated discussion in a little while. So Abir, are you still here? Oh, that rhymes. I like that. Abir, are you still here?
Yes, here.
Okay. So what do you think about the topic?
Well, oh no. I don't know from where I start. Well, talking about trust, I am a person that I don't trust easily. Don't trust people easily. I don't. I have like space zone. I call it my safety zone. I don't give my personality to all the people I meet. So, and that because of a lot of experience, hard one. I can say so. Yeah, I learned from that. I don't trust anyone easily. But when I trust someone, that means that person is very, very close to me, and if he or she betrayed me or cheat on me, so I don't forgive for that because I gave all my trust. Yeah, except that I'm a person that I forgive and forget easily. Someone.
Yeah, normally I didn't want to say because I didn't want to degrade women. This is the Friedrich Nietzsche. It's a German philosopher, and he says, woman. He connotes, not directly says, but he connotes when a woman trusts, not easily. When she trusts, even she can be slave of the man. I'm not saying. He says, please don't blame me. Just I didn't want to be rude, so I didn't mention.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well. Right. Sorry. For the first. Sorry. I just gonna. Sorry.
Okay, so real quickly, so let's make sure, let's please follow what we're doing. So what the point is here, the person will speak, they will share their view, then somebody can ask a question, okay? So Abir, are you finished speaking yet? Or is there more you want to talk about?
I forget what I was speaking about. Well, yeah, as I said, I don't give trust easily. And if I give you my trust, that means that you are very special to me. And if you do something wrong or bad to me, I will never forgive you. I know it's bad, but I can't. I can't forgive someone I give him or I gave her my trust.
Okay.
And yeah, and and in another hand, I forgive easily. So if someone do something wrong to me and say I'm sorry, I will say it's okay, forget about it. Yeah. So and sometimes I think I hate myself and get mad of myself because of that, because I always say it's okay, I forgive you. I feel sometimes I am naive, so yeah, because they keep hurting me and I will like feel myself that I am the loser one, not the other part. So yeah.
Okay. So I have a question for you. Let me, if you don't mind, let me ask my question.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you said that you feel sometimes you're naive because you will trust people, even though sometimes maybe, maybe you shouldn't. So do you feel why do you think you do that? Is it because you feel maybe a problem with self-confidence? And even though you said that you're pretty open to seeing people, at least initially, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and you made a comment about being naive. Okay. So, why do you think you do that? Is it because that's just your personality and you want to believe that you can trust people, or why?
No, it's not about personality. It's about people. For example, me and my friend.
Mm-hmm.
If I give her all my trust, I give her all my like everything. So, and when she cheated on me, I get mad,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will like say, okay, I forgive you, and she kept doing the same wrong mistakes. So I feel myself and I kept saying, okay, it's okay, I forgive you. So sometimes I feel myself I am naive person and I'm
Okay.
stupid to say
Okay.
always again and again,
Okay.
okay, it's okay, I forgive you. Just because I love her or because I don't know.
Okay. So you're willing to forgive her in those situations because the feelings you have for her are stronger than the things you feel when she doesn't, Okay, I think I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I love her. It's the feeling is stronger than the act that she did.
Right. Okay. Anybody else that has a question for Abir?
No, what I was gonna say, Abir is, you should, when you meet somebody, you should give them what's called the benefit of the doubt. You can accept that, except for if you judge someone, for the first time you meet them, that's a bit unfair. You should wait until you get to know the person. Then if you feel like they've done you wrong, then you should get mad at them. But that's just you. But normally, I just give someone the benefit of the doubt. We start off alright, and then eventually something happens, and then we drift apart. That's how it should be. At least I think.
Okay.
You're not naive, and that's normal.
Okay.
May I ask?
Yeah, go ahead, Amadeus. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. You said that me, I'm asking. I want to ask this. Can you hear me?
Come on, yes, ask.
Okay. For example, you said, as far as I remember, you said when you were cheated by your friend, you will not forgive her. I mean, your friend, for example. But human is not perfect. We are not God. As according to at least to my belief, the perfect one is God. So we should forgive someone. Do you have a giving chance space for her? For example, maybe she made a mistake once, and then maybe she will not do it again, or maybe she will do it. She will not do it permanently.
I give a lot of chances, and then I feel myself like I am the one who get hurt each time. So I will like go to my safety zone, as I call it, and back, and I will never forget her. Forgive her, and forget what she did. So, yeah. Hello.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Abir. Thank you so much for sharing that. Go ahead, Johnny.
Okay. Question to Avir. You spoke about forgiving or losing trust in somebody else. What about you? When did you feel you lost your trust in yourself? Did you make any mistake in the past and say, I can't forgive me this and I have to punish myself, perhaps?
Yeah, sometimes I do that. And that's why I get a lot of depression in the past. I was doing that, and but I got in the time that making mistakes, I will learn from it, and it's okay to make mistakes. And the most important is to learn from my mistakes. So, yeah.
All right. So
I was not forgiving myself that from now, like in the 5 years from now, like I learned to forgive myself.
all right. But would it be anything that will be so big that you wouldn't forgive yourself, that you would say, I will never do this again because I know I'm bad at this and I cannot have a second chance in this? I will not try it again because I know myself, so I. Is there anything like that?
Well, I don't know.
No?
I don't know. Maybe if I do something forbidden in my religion, or maybe I will never forgive myself. Forgive myself. Maybe. I don't know.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Abir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Abir, for answering a lot of questions. Okay, we're going to be like psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, counselors. Okay. Oh my gosh, we can solve the world's problems. Okay.
It's okay.
You know, this is actually very, very unique. You can feel like you're with an international counseling session. Okay, very unique. Okay, very special. Okay, this is like, it's kind of hard to get people from 8 or 9 different countries to speak to you about things. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
That's
special.
Interesting. Very.
Okay, so let's go now to Rashid. Is there something you want to say to us, Mr. Rashid? Rashid, are you here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, speak up a little bit, please.
Okay. Do you have any specific question to me?
Well, no. Talk about the topic. Where it's not a question. Talk about the topic. How do you feel about trust and forgiveness?
Actually, I am not sure whether the guy will forgive me or not, because I told him that today you will be you may be invited, but I think I called him, but I did not get him right now. Most probably he got away. I mean, he went away. But anyway, forgiveness to me is very crucial. If you cannot forgive anyone, you cannot expect forgiveness from others. So no human is no human is above reproach, above error. So I suppose if you expect forgiveness, must forgive others. And that's my point. But it should have some limitations. Suppose if you do any offense which can damage, can have lots of damage to the nation, to the to mass people, so it cannot be forgiven. Although it can be, although it can be forgiven, but minimum punishment, who may should be suffered. Should be given to offense makers. So, and I suppose, but for simple wrongdoing, people expect forgiveness without punishment. But for major, for for blatant offense, forgiveness should not be given to the. That's my point.
Okay. Thank you, Rashid. So without getting you don't have to share too many details if you don't want to, but have you ever been in a situation in your life where you feel like you cannot forgive somebody because what they did to you is maybe so painful or so hurtful that you felt like you could never forgive that person?
Actually, I didn't think so. I don't think so. Sometimes I feel, I cannot forgive them, but I'm such a person who easily forgets people's wrongdoing. I'm not so much serious, but I always try to keep in touch with all types of people without any sort of, bickering or any sort of altercation, you know. And that's my correct.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Does somebody else have a question for Rashid?
I did.
Okay, go ahead, Johnny.
All right. So Rashid, you said that sometimes it wouldn't be reasonable to ask for forgiveness when we cannot forgive them. My question would be, could we apply that also when we cannot forgive ourselves, but somebody else is, or we should forgive somebody else, but we cannot forgive ourselves? Should we apply the same logic, or can one not forgive oneself but forgive other people?
Actually, I'm not sure about the importance of forgiving myself, because it matters. Some people, if I just say, if I think that okay, what I did is wrong, and I sometimes feel suffer from guilty feelings. Why did I do that? I should not. How could I escape this error? That sort of thinking, that sort of thoughts, really, remain active in my mind. Really grow in my mind sometimes, and it is very, and I cannot do that. Sometimes I think forgiving myself is harder than forgiving others. And sorry, I'm not sure whether I'm touching your question or not. Could you just repeat what you said?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Let me give you an example if you feel confused about what I'm trying to speak about. For example, let's suppose that you made a decision in the past, and at the moment you thought it was a good decision, but later on, perhaps some years after that, or some time after that, perhaps days, weeks, whatever, you realize that your decision was a wrong decision, and it caused some problems, whether to yourself or to your family. And you say, I will never do this again, because if I even because you did that and people hurt you or hurt your family, and you can forgive that person, but you cannot forgive yourself for allowing that to happen. So you will say, I will never make that kind of decision again. I will never put myself in that situation again, So you cannot forgive yourself. So that's what I'm asking.
Yes, yes, but there is a fact. If I try to take any decision about me, or especially not about me, about my family, about my relatives, about my subordinate people, I try to have, I try to consult with them, so that, and I will try. I just try to tell them, okay, we all will be trying to take a decision, and it may be damaging, it may be, it may not be damaging for us, it may be good for us, but as we are taking decision in a, I mean, with teamwork, so any sort of result, we will not blame, or we will not give credit to someone. I mean, to one person. If anything bad or good happen, I mean, following our decision, it will. We all should. We all should take the responsibilities for this activity. It doesn't mean that one person, I mean, the head of the family, and only the blame will be given to only one person. No, it will not be possible. I will not accept it, and I always try to do that so that I don't have to have guilty feelings. That's my point.
Thank you, Rashid.
I mean, what will I will take, what decision I will take. I'll try to take decision with others. I will not take unilateral decision without consulting with others.
Okay.
So, Richard,
thank you.
Could I express my views? I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, you did. You did a good job, Rashid. You did a good job. Thank you for that. Let's go on. We have a few others. I want to make sure we give everybody a chance, and then we'll have an opportunity to go into more detail if we want to. So, Johnny, it's your turn. Mr. John.
My turn.
Your turn. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I would like to speak about the punishment that we inflict to ourselves when we make a mistake. I will not speak about forgiving somebody else, because I think we all have an opinion about that, and the process of forgiving somebody else differ from people to people. They all need certain kind of requirement. They all need certain amount of time. They all have their own times to do that, and they go through different kind of processes in order to do that. So it wouldn't for me, it would be pointless to speak about forgiving somebody else. But I found that we all have something in common when we make a mistake, a big mistake in our life, and we regret that. And most people seem to be unable to forgive themselves. For instance, I was speaking with a friend not long ago, and she was saying that she made a very wrong decision. She thought she was doing right. It was choosing somebody for being a life partner. And she said, well, I chose wrong this person, and my life changed after that, and I allowed this person to do this and that. And she thinks that if she doesn't continue with that person, she will not get into another relationship again, because she herself cannot forgive. She cannot forgive herself for allowing other people to hurt her. And I was trying to speak with a friend and to say, well, we all need some time, and we can't live our life punishing ourselves all the time because we made a mistake in the past. We should allow ourselves to give that time, to give a chance to ourselves to begin again, right? To start over. Yes, we all made mistakes in the past. We all decide something that it turns out to be a wrong decision, but we have to acknowledge, that, like you always say, to err is human, and to say, well, I made that mistake again, but I will not allow myself to make the same kind of mistakes. And in the process, judging all of the people in the planet that they all gonna hurt her, gonna hurt us like that in the same way. I think it's not only negative, but also it's damaging. because not only you cannot forgive yourself, but also you are putting judgment on anybody else. Like they're all gonna do the same. And that could be, depending on the person, that could be offensive sometimes.
Go ahead. Hey, wait, hang on a second. Nauman, I really need for you to mute your microphone, please. Nauman, can you hear me? Nauman, if you can mute your microphone, that would be really appreciated. Thank you. Go ahead, Johnny.
So, after all of this thinking, I was trying to figure out what would be the right process for us to allow ourselves to recognize that it is okay to make mistakes, but we need to forgive ourselves. We need to move on. We need to, at least in some point, say, well, I'm ready now to try it again. To put myself in the same situation and have the confidence that I will go through it. That I will make it, right? And not saying, no, I went through this one time, it didn't turn out good, I will not do it again. It's like not having the confidence that you can. It's like you give up on yourself, you don't work on yourself, you don't have the confidence. So I was wondering, what would be the right process in order to achieve that? Should we first forgive ourselves, or should we just, try it again and confirm that we can rely on ourselves? Or, that's just a difficult question.
May I say opinion? May I say opinion?
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. If it's something related to what Johnny said,
Yeah. Because, Johnny, it is trauma. And what is trauma? Trauma is, as I told shortly before, the value system. When you perceive something, what comes, a fluction, okay? You put some values and it's filtering from that value system and you accept. And these fluctuations come slowly. When something comes fast, or unexpected thing, you have a trauma, and every trauma has a scapegoat. For example, if you ask any woman who were cheated, I'm sure she will not forgive. She will look at the man suspicious and choose the man as scapegoat. Here, there is only one way. You will determine your value table, value system, and you will need a time. When maybe you can talk with someone, you can share your ideas, it relaxes you. But when you are alone, when you lie down on your bed, and when you close your eyes, you will think and think. There is only one way. You have time. It's not easy to get along with this situation. So trauma is not easy. I think you defined that. You didn't say the trauma, but I think it is trauma. I mean, if someone says what I did, it's how always if say this in introspection, it's trauma, and trauma is not easy to getting over.
Okay,
that's it. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So are you ready for questions, Johnny?
Yep.
So let me make sure I understood. And let me just paraphrase some of what you said to make sure I asked my question correctly. So you feel like obviously there is no set timeline for forgiving yourself. Everyone is different, of course, and it kind of goes back to what Amadeus said a little bit. It may come down to our values and how important we think certain things are. Do you think that eventually all things are forgiven, or do you think there are some things that are too grievous or too traumatic, to use a term that Amadeus brought up, that we'll never forgive?
Well, it is interesting that you ask it in that way.
No, I'm asking Johnny.
it is interesting that you formulated the question in that way, because I think that some things should not be forgiven, you know, and that could apply something that somebody else did to you, and also when you did something. And yes, it has to do with your values, how much important we think something should be, and how much important something turns out to be for us, because we also realize that later, you know, that we realize that we are unable to forgive something, or you know, to forget something, and we surprise ourselves that you say, huh, I didn't think that it was be so much important for me, but here I am, you know, I can't let this go, you know, it's so much important for me. And when somebody else comes and say, well, you have to let it go, you have to forget, it's like they're trying to put it, to minimize the problem and say, well, it is another way to say, you know, this should not matter to you. You should change your value, you should change the principle, you should change the things that are important for you, because I think it is healthy. And maybe it is not for that person, you know. So yes, some things could remain there. I mean, not being forgiven. It depends on how much important it is for you, and some other things, yes, should be forgiven, because you know, it could generate this feeling of negativity that may grow and grow with time, and that could not be healthy. Did I answer the question?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Let's go ahead. Anybody else have any more questions for Johnny before we move on to Hiroki? Anybody else have a question? Nope. Okay. Mr. Hiroki. Thank you, Johnny. Sure. Mr. Hiroki, what do you think about the topic?
Oh, yeah. Forgiveness, I think to forgive somebody, I think, you know, I think, you know, maybe sometimes forgive doesn't mean to, you know, to give a positive something to someone did. But if I hold the feeling of, you know, anger or feeling of not forgive somebody, maybe I always suffer from that feeling. So sometimes we need to release the feeling of, you know, whatever happened. That's, I think, the one meaning of forgiveness, just to release. You know, sometimes, you know, in the human life, or you know, some terrible thing happens, maybe I cannot forgive, but if I hold that feeling, you know, all through my life, it could be a burden for me. So to solve the problem, sometimes I need to forgive, and a very serious meaning of forgiveness. But you know, casual meaning of forgiveness, maybe it's kind of misunderstanding or always happens. So in that case, so it's not so difficult to forgive, actually, because everybody is not perfect, actually. So and trust, I think being trust, you know, creating the feeling of trust takes time. You know, I think I myself cannot trust people all of a sudden. Actually, during our relationship, I think I'm judging people. I'm not sure, but I'm began to be able to trust people. It doesn't happen all of a sudden. And how maybe losing trust. Yeah, if the losing trust affects to our you know, people's relationship, because people that usually doesn't have a heavy kind of relation involvement with relationship without trust. In order to, you know, relate somebody deeply, we need to trust somebody. So that's important. So that's the kind of impact of trust and also losing trust as well. If I lose the trust, maybe that person cannot trust me, and returning that trust is actually, I think it's difficult. Maybe sometimes time works. Also, sometimes maybe life position changes or. But if I trust somebody's trust, I lost somebody's trust. So I think I checked the website briefly, but many website apologies can work, but it's not the kind of mechanical apology. It's kind of such things. Maybe sometimes it makes sense, but it's not so. It doesn't make sense to the deep relationship, I guess. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my opinion about that.
Okay, so anybody have any questions for Hiroki?
Yeah, I have. If you don't
go
mind.
ahead. Sure, go ahead.
Okay. As far as I remember from your speech, you told that when the issue is about forgiveness, we can solve the problem, right? Am I right?
You mean?
If it's not right, I will not ask.
No, I didn't say that. Even though we cannot solve the problem, holding anger or not forgiveness, sometimes bad, harmful for. It could be a burden in my mind too. If I cannot forgive somebody forever, I feel that anger or hold the anger or such feeling all through my life. Even though the problem cannot be solved, to release the feeling maybe makes me better.
Then I don't want to ask because I think I understood you wrong. Yeah. If you said yes, I would ask the question if the source of the problem is that person. For example, she can or he can be a narcissist and egoist and always thinks about that the world is surrounding her. What will you do? What was your solution about this? I will ask this question, but you didn't mean that.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, my English word.
Okay, so let me ask you, Hiroki. Let me ask you a question from a cultural standpoint. Okay.
Okay.
About in Japanese culture, is it common for people to seek forgiveness for something, or is it more common for people to not? Does that make sense?
I think as a cultural standpoint, maybe forgiveness is important, but sometimes just such social requirement, kind of forgiveness is like just a social order, peer pressure, just a shallow forgiveness. Just deeply bored or something, just apologize.
Right.
People misunderstand that's the meaning of forgiveness, but I don't think so.
Yeah, and the reason I asked you that question is because there are cultural influences in this area, and I know that again in many cultures, shame, right, is something that can be very devastating to people. So if they feel they have wronged somebody and they feel shame, this is not just in your culture, but in many cultures, this is something that really is hard for people to deal with, right?
Oh yeah, maybe kind of keeping faith kind of thing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I think Japanese culture is more based on the feeling of shame. Maybe, maybe parents often scold kids. Oh, it's a shame. What you're doing, it's shame, or based on shame. Maybe kind of things from our culture in Japan.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting. And that's a point also. If you could think about these terms or relative to your culture, that's also important because again, we all come from different countries, and I'm sure that there are cultural influences in how we look at these two things. In some cases, maybe culture doesn't have an impact. I think in other cases, maybe it does. So also bring that up if you don't mind. Thank you, Hiroki. Very well said. Okay, Mariam, can you tell us what you think about the topic, please?
No.
Okay.
Well, okay, I shall start with forgiveness with others, forgiving others or not. I think it depends. It depends on what is the mistake they have done to you, and also it depends on time. Sometimes you need just some time to forgive that person, and for me, I think that I always at the end I forgive, because as I do with myself, I always forgive myself. The same I do with people. So, but I think it takes time, and also sometimes someone do something to you that you feel like you cannot forgive. But as I said before in the last session, that forgiveness it deals with emotions and feelings. You don't think about it really logically, but sometimes it is something. It is a small mistake, but you can forgive it for a reason, I don't know, but you can't forgive it. You don't feel fine to forgive it for that person for this mistake, and vice versa. Sometimes I think that it is easy. It is not easy to forgive, but you find that you're forgiving him or her. With myself, yes, I do always forgive myself, because first it is myself. I mean, we have always to give ourselves chances, and to stop on something that you have done wrong. It is, I don't know, useless. You will gain nothing. Just I don't know. You are like torturing yourself for nothing. We all do mistakes. You can think about it that you assume your responsibility by yourself, but not stop there, or say that I'll not forgive myself on this decision that I took. Yes. Any questions?
Any questions for Medium?
May I ask?
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead, Amadeus.
So you said that you can, at the end, you will forgive, right? Forgive yourself.
Yes, I forgive myself.
With the same issue. But yes, people can make mistake. One time, twice, maybe 3 times. But if you keep these mistakes serially and always, isn't it a mistake, a big mistake for you? What do you think?
Yeah.
Because you get experience, you get bad experience, okay? 1, okay, we understood. 2nd, we understood. But if you keep this, so where are you here? I'm just curious about that. Isn't it a big mistake to always condone or always be tolerant to yourself? Or what will you do not to do this mistake again?
Okay. When I do something wrong, I think I will not repeat it more than 2, 3 times, okay? It is not 4, 5, 6 times, okay? Just 2, 3 times I learn from it. Yes. But also if I did it 3 or 4 or 5 times, I keep forgiving myself. I will look at it from another perspective, that maybe this time I have to focus on another part of it, of the mistake, maybe next time on the other side. But I always forgive
But my
myself.
question was with the same issue. Certainly we will forgive us. with the same issue, whatever it is, someone hurt you, and this is the first time.
Give me an example.
For example, what if you have a boyfriend, okay? What if? Or you have a husband. He cheated you. What if? And then you said, okay, I forgive him. And he cheated you second time, you forgave him. Third time, you forgave him. Fourth time, you forgave him. Oh, I mean the topic of the forgiveness that is related to each other, same issue, and you are there, the same issue. I mean this, with different mistakes, certainly we will forgive us, other else we can go crazy and we can find ourselves in mental hospital if you don't do that, if you don't do that.
Mistakes that I do with myself. Of course, this is cheating is a big issue that I may forgive one time, but not twice. Okay, this will go. You can call me idiot if I do this. Yes, but I'm talking about other small mistakes that that people may think that it is not okay to forgive yourself again and again. So what will I gain if I not give myself a second chance, third chance, fourth chance? I mean, it's always there. I mean, for myself, I'm there to forgive myself. Who would help me to forgive myself? And what if I stopped on one mistake and said, even though I repeated it more than one time, I won't get anything by punishing myself and say, no, I'll never ever do this, and it may work with me. Yeah, because if I rejected the idea that I not do it again, so I don't know, I'm belittling myself, or I'm acting like I'm not confident, or I'm not able to do this, or can you get my point?
Yeah, I got your point.
Okay.
And it depends on the mistakes that we do. Of course, you have to think about it. Not like a cheating. Cheating is not like another small mistake. Yeah, you can do it.
Maybe cheating is a big mistake maybe here, but for example, in some places, in some countries, especially, many women are subject to brutal hitting, slapping, and many times, and they forgive their husbands, okay, and they don't go to the security and tell them this man hit me.
No, at that time I'm not forgiving him, not myself. At that time I'm not forgiving him, not myself.
Something. Let me see if I can say something. Then I think Johnny had one question for Hiroki. So, it's not the, okay, you can forgive somebody, but not stay in the situation. Okay, so we have to remember that too. You can forgive somebody and leave the situation. You could do both. They're not mutually exclusive. Right. So just because if you're living in an abusive situation, which you guys are kind of talking about, where one of the partners, whether it's the man or woman, is maybe it's physical abuse, maybe it's emotional abuse, whatever it is. Obviously, it's not healthy to stay in that situation because nobody should be abused. Nobody. Okay. But you can still learn to forgive somebody and yet leave that situation and not stay in it. Right. So, okay. Let's give Johnny. He had a question. I cut him off earlier, and I apologize, Johnny. Johnny had one question for Hiroki. Johnny, you want to ask your question from earlier?
Yeah, some question actually. Yeah, he was talking about trust also. I would like to ask him, how would you, Hiroki, gain trust on yourself again when, for example, you fail it many times at something? You fail it once, 2 times, 3 times. Suddenly, your self-confidence went down. So what would you do in order to gain trust again on yourself?
Myself. Oh, how can I?
What do you usually do?
It's difficult. Okay, maybe if I made a mistake again in the same subject, I think I'm not good at it, and I'm not suitable for doing that thing. So I keep apart from if it's possible, I keep apart myself apart from that work or that issue if I can.
All right. So you
I
give
think.
up, right? You give up. You
May
don't
I
try
say
it
my
next
opinion?
time, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. And I have another question, if you don't mind.
May I say something about this issue?
Yes, if
Okay.
we
I
let
will leave after my opinion,
if
if you don't mind.
we let him respond, then perhaps you can ask your question too. Just want to finish this.
No, I want to ask a question. Just I will say something about his answer,
All right.
and then I will leave because I need to leave. Okay. Anyway, please keep continue. Okay. No need.
Sure. Okay.
I'm sorry for interruption. I need to leave. Good evening. Bye bye.
Okay, Amadeus, take care. Okay, Hiroki.
Yes.
You also mentioned apologies,
Okay.
right?
Hello.
Yes, yes, we are here. You also mentioned apologies, and that triggered a question in my mind. Is an apology enough? I mean, is it all they need to do in order for you to forgive that person, or is it anything else they need to do in addition to that?
Actually, that's my point. Sometimes, especially on the business situation or social requirement, people misunderstand. Just bowing deeply or just apology and kind of thing, a kind of mechanical, a technical apology can work sometimes, but I don't think that it's kind of a shallow, maybe I can say it's not a mechanical apology. So if I made a mistake or maybe for deep apology, maybe I need to show my sincere feeling about that.
All right.
Not a kind of pardon or such kind of apology. Yeah.
I understand, but even so, I mean, even if you see that the apology is genuine and it is sincere, I mean, is it all they need to do? Just apologize sincerely and then that's it? You forget and forgive?
No. It's up to the matter. As I said, talking about forgiveness, if I hold the feeling of not forgiveness, even it's not kind of it's a burden in my mind. So sometimes maybe people forgive people something just for releasing that burden from their mind. So even though the sometimes apology and forgiveness can solve the problem, but sometimes it cannot. So, but if I hold the feeling of unforgiveness, it's a burden in my life. So,
right.
Maybe in a certain amount of time, I need to release the feeling.
Right. But what if it is not about you? What if the other person also needs to atone? Is it that a requirement for you in order to be able for you to be open to forgiveness, or like I said before, is it just an apology enough? That's all you need?
No, actually no. It's up to the matter. It's a kind of shallow, not shallow kind. It's not so important. A serious, kind of misunderstanding. Just apologies. It can work, but serious, maybe kind of such kind of misunderstanding or some serious thing happened. Even the people apologize me, but I cannot forgive. But anyway, life goes on. We cannot change the past. We have to live future. To live future in maybe to release the feeling, to just let it go. I think it's good to me.
Thank you, Hiroki.
Okay. Johnny, are you done?
Yeah, sorry. I muted my microphone when I said thank you, Hiroki.
Okay. 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 Okay.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Okay. Okay. So let's go on. Let's get the rest of the folks, then I'll do mine at the end. Let me see. Naman, are you still here? Naman? Hello? Naman? Okay. Maybe he can't speak right now. Babuti, Mr. Babuti, Mr. Martania. How are you?
Hey. Well, what about you?
Good, good, good. Happy to hear you.
Good, great. Hi, Johnny. How are you?
Hi, Babuji. I'm okay. Thank you.
Johnny, are you here?
Yes.
Yeah, great, great. Not bad.
So share your wisdom, Babuti. Share all of your wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah. You know that if we should forgive or forget, what is the question? Because I didn't have access to my computer, but I've seen that this morning, but I forget about it. I wanted to be sure about the topic.
Yeah, it's basically pretty generalized. So the discussion is about trust and forgiveness and the impact of losing trust in someone, or also we're talking about forgiveness and both give forgiveness for yourself or self-forgiveness and forgiveness for other people.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. Yeah, yeah. The topic in itself is encompass a lot of things at the same time, because we have to speak about trust and forgiveness and how to forget about something that happened. I think all of these factors depends on how we want a relationship with that person, with ourselves. Yeah. If we want a lasting relationship with any person or with ourselves, we should kind of forgive and forget at the same time in order to have this relationship lasting. It is difficult to explain how to have a relationship with yourself. I mean by that when you have a good relationship with yourself, that means you are in peace with yourself. But what you have said, what you have done, is something that you are comfortable with. Yeah, because sometimes when you did something, or when you do something, and you with hindsight, you it might appear that what you have done is so bad or something like that, and that will not let you live in peace with yourself, and you try to forget to forgive yourself, or to try to find an excuse for yourself because you have done something that is wrong. I think in my case, I wouldn't do that, because you know what, I don't want to forgive myself because I have done something that is bad, but I have to face it and try to be in a situation where I can't do it again, or I can't repeat it, and I could try to avoid it to other person, or to explain it to other person. But I will always keep myself guilty for doing something that is bad, and it is very, very difficult for me to forgive myself because I've done something that is bad. When it comes to a person with whom you are in a relationship, I think it is important, if you care about that relationship, or if you want that relationship to be a lasting one. I think it is important to forget and to forgive sometimes, in the sake of that relationship, because without one can do something that is bad. go through some difficulty that will make it more or less able to do something that is bad, or you feel it bad. And if you don't forget about that, and if you don't try to put yourself in other person's shoes, you will lose your friend. You will lose your ability to have a good relationship with other person. If I want to wrap up, I will say that when it comes to myself, it is very difficult for me to forgive or to forget something that is bad that I did. But when it comes to other person, it depends on the relationship. If I want a lasting or good relationship with other person, I will try to forgive and forget something. But if I don't care, it is something that is relationship that isn't so important for me. I try to take this as an excuse for going away from that person, or ending that kind of relationship, whatever its kind the relationship might be.
So it sounds like, okay, so I have a question for you. It sounds like for you it comes down to excuse me, it's all relative. So depending upon the type of relationship, depending upon the level of trust, the something we were talking earlier, the values that are, how do I say this, are at risk, or that you believe in, that those different factors are what determine your ability to forgive somebody, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're right. It depends on that. Yeah, okay. I didn't of trust, but trust is one of these. I only told you about a lasting relationship, but I think trust is also a very, very important factor that came into consideration when it comes to forgiving and forgetting a other person. If you really, really trust that person, and you will understand, and you will take his excuse as something that is real, and because you take for granted his willingness to do whatever he can in order to be with you. And I think it is I will say that when you have, it depends on the trust that you have in the person and the interest that you have in having this relationship lasting for a long time.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you another question, if you don't mind. It's similar to one I asked Hiroki earlier. So how much of a cultural influence do you think, how much does your culture influence these two things, trust and forgiveness?
Yeah. In theory, it should have played a very, very important role, because we have been taught in our early age that being trustworthy is something that is important, and you have to stick to this this kind of quality or truth. But unfortunately, people don't care about that nowadays, and it is unfortunately there is a few numbers of person who really care about that being trustworthy or trusting the other person. But I think culture should have played. I will say I will use that. Should have played a very, very important role. In our case, particularly, it might not be that much important. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, so let's go ahead. Like I said, if we finish up on time, we could have time for more discussion. I see Mila has joined us, so hello, Mila. She's brave. She's showing her picture. Oh, the brave one. Okay. Thank you for joining us. And Soso is also here. So why don't we, I think, Johnny, you said you had a question for Miriam you wanted to ask earlier, right?
Yes.
Did you want to ask that before we?
Yes. And it's the exact same question for Miriam too. So maybe he can answer first, and then Miriam can answer the same question later. My question is this:
for Babuti?
Yeah,
go ahead.
first for Vabuti. So now that he's speaking now, the question is for him, since it is almost related to the same thing they were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Something that you said, Babuti, to me was a little bit scary, you know? When you said that you would forgive and forget almost anything, depending on how much important the relationship is. That to me sounds a little bit scary, because I can imagine all sort of very horrible situations that could happen. And when you say that, I imagine that you would still forget and forget that. For instance, let's suppose you are with somebody and somebody did something very bad to your family. Maybe they murdered them, or they do something really, really bad, you know, and perhaps you lost your family because of that person, and you say, well, what only matters is my relationship with that person, so I will forget everything he or she did in order just to keep that relationship. That sounds to me a little bit scary. Is it like that, or you were talking about just slight things?
Yeah, yeah, for me it isn't so scary, because I said that it depends on the interest that I have in having this relationship lasting for a long time. You know what? Because when you have, I will take the example. You are living abroad with a friend of yours, and you are sharing the same room, and you are coming from the same country, and he has done something that is so bad. But there is no, you don't have any other choices but being with that person. You can't share your room with other person, and you know that your level of trust, you trust that person, and you can imagine that he made it by mistake, or he made it by inadvertence, or something like that. And that in this kind of situation, I will forgive something, because I will forgive what sound a little bit difficult for other person in normal circumstances to forgive. But for me, there are some exceptional situations. I mean, first of all, I trust that person who done that, and I think he made it by mistake, and I think he will not do it. He will not do it again. And I really, really, really care about having this relationship that I have with that person lasting for a long time.
All right. Okay. Well, may I continue?
Yeah.
Well, be quick though, because we still have quite a few more people.
So I guess the overall question was: is there anything that would be unforgivable? I mean, you could forgive everything that person does. Suppose again that person kills your entire family. Would you still forgive that person? Would you still be with that person? And if you say, you know, I trust this person, what would that trust mean if that person already did something bad and hurtful?
Yeah. I think that you are pushing the reasoning to an extreme point. Yeah, because there are something that we can't forgive, because it is something that we can't repair. Okay, if you have lost one of your loved one, and the other person is responsible for that, and you know that we can't repair that. We can't get him alive anew. Yeah, and for me, we can't trust that person, because what he done is something that is very, very unforgivable. Yeah, I think it is an extreme case. Yeah, an extreme case. And this case, I don't want the relationship that I have with that person lasting for a long time, because I know I didn't care about that relationship anymore, because what he done is something that is wrong, and I can't continue for that. I lost the second point of my for my argument. That's one which is related to having this relationship lasting for a long time. And I will not forgive that in this case, but in some extreme cases, like that one that you have stated right now.
Okay.
So let's go. So thank you, Johnny, for the question. Thank you, Babuti, for responding. Let's go through. We still have 3 more people I see here that haven't spoken yet, so I want to give them the chance.
The question was also
speak,
for
then we'll
Miriam.
wrap up.
I think we lost her before she could answer any questions.
What's that?
We lost Miriam.
Oh, we lost Miriam. Okay, well, she might be back. I don't know.
No, I said.
Yes,
she's here.
Yeah, but we need. Yeah, but let's get through the rest of the people. And unless you, okay, well, go ahead. Go ahead, Johnny. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. The same question. The same question.
Okay.
Would be anything that you won't forgive? I mean, is everything forgivable?
I don't know if I didn't go through something, I can't, because as I said before, that it is a feeling. I can't say, and
did she answer your question?
I can't.
Oh, the connection.
If I'm in this situation, I will tell you, but I can't.
Okay. if the connect, yeah, go ahead.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, we hear you. We hear you. Go ahead.
I said I can say anything.
Okay. I tell you what, Miriam, try maybe.
I said I can't say anything unless I'm going through this situation.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and try and write it? Let's go ahead. I want to get to the rest of the people that we have here, though. Alireza.
Forgiveness. I mean, a word is is a good word. The action also is good. And it doesn't mean that there's a forgiveness all the time. We should forgive every person or every situation that we face. No, it doesn't mean. We sometimes need to stand. Maybe it is hard, but we should not forgive sometimes, or we might forgive it later in time. And we should learn the person that what their action was not good sometimes, but it's not necessary sometimes, and we should forgive some times very easily. Yeah, and also I'm the kind of person that I do not want to have negativity in my side. I do not like to, like Jamie said, that if we do just not forgiving, the one of the behavior that we might create inside of ourselves is might be negativity, and I don't like that. And I do like to forgive, but sometimes not. We should just stand in front of ourselves to not forgive someone.
Okay.
Because of for themselves, because to show that their action was not good and they should change their behavior.
Okay. So has there been a situation, Alireza, where you couldn't forgive somebody?
Okay. In appearance, maybe no, but in a hidden way, yeah.
Okay. So how did that?
But I have never in front of. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you how that made you feel. How does that make you feel not to be able to forgive? If you keep that inside of you, how does that make you feel?
I mean, now that I can see that they have learned by themselves, not just going in front of them and telling them that their action was not good. But now that I can see that they have learned their lesson, I can see that it was a good, I mean, for themselves and also for me.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's try to finish with the people we have, and then if we have time, we'll go back and ask some more questions because it's really important to try and make sure everybody gets a chance. Mila, you're able to speak, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Hello,
so
everyone.
welcome.
Thank you.
So, what do you think about this topic?
Oh, it's quite complicated as all your topics. So it seems to me that relationships between people the most fragile thing in the world, and if you lose trust, you can lose it forever, and you can gain the trust again if two person really want to start new relationship, or if someone who was guilty in something changed his personality. Because it seems to me always ask for forgiveness, it's not very good habit. And always forgive for the same thing is also very bad habit. So if you don't forgive, if you make other people or another person feel this guilt, it could be very helpful to understand how painful his or her behavior could be. But I don't know about English language or other languages, but in Russian, the verb forgive means that you say goodbye for something or someone. You can say goodbye for the pain if you just feel the pain, or maybe you can say goodbye for the person who make you feel this pain. So, and I think that felt guilty, and it's very important to forgive and to forgive yourself. But sometimes it's also necessary to just to leave some period of time when you cannot forgive yourself, when you feel this guilt. It's some kind you can concentrate some power, some energy, and then understand something, and then only after that overcome to understand maybe what should you change in yourself, what should you do to get rid of this pain, or how can you change your personality, what should you do to remove that pain you made someone felt, or something like that. Because it seems to me it's not very necessary to forgive quickly. Just you should spend some time.
Well, and you're bringing up something that we talked about in one of our articles, is that, and it came up here already, that people have different timelines, different processes, different ways and methods of forgiving. And like you said, some people, maybe they do it more quickly than others. For some, they hold on to it for a long time. Everyone's different, right? And every situation is different, right? So let me ask you a question. So how do you physically feel? Okay, so think about a situation where you feel like somebody has done something wrong to you, and think about the way that you felt when they did something wrong to you, and then tell me what it felt like to finally forgive that person, or maybe not even a person, maybe a situation in life. Okay, and how you felt after you were able to release that.
Okay, it seems to me that you feel like a rock stand on my chest.
Okay.
Or my throat, just I don't know, pressed from different side around. And when I forgive, I feel relaxation and everything is fine. More positive feelings can come into me and from me. Yes, I know that unforgiving just block a lot of inside me and can block even my whole life. That's why it's important to forgive. Thank you for the question, Rick.
Yeah, no, and that's important to know that. I think, again, we're all different. Maybe we all react differently to these circumstances. Okay, because I have more to say about this when I speak, but okay, thank you for that answer, and thank you for the images to show us how it meant. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So thank you. Anybody else have a question for Mila? Anybody else?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Johnny.
I mean, I heard when she said, it's like, when you can't forgive or you are in the middle of that process, she feels that she has a rock in her throat, perhaps, or something big in her chest. And so would you think that that's how it's supposed to be? Because that is a sign that there's some kind of struggle inside of you. Because if just the fact of forgiving per se is relieving and it is so much positive, why just anybody just forgive? And I think it's because something inside of you saying you shouldn't. You shouldn't, because you have your reasons. Maybe if you do that, it will happen again. So it's like you are waiting for the other person perhaps to do something so that you will feel that you are able now to forgive that person. It's like there is a struggle inside of you, but it also depends on what the other person does in order to atone. Do you agree with that? Or do you just do you think it's just about you, or the other person also needs to do something in order for you to be able to forgive?
Johnny, it's very dangerous to make other persons just be responsible for my feelings. Only me who is responsible. For example, I can feel pain if someone use some rude words, right? Or I can't. It depends on me, not this person. I just I've lost my thoughts. I'm sorry. I didn't answer, right? I don't want anyone do anything for my forgiveness, but it's better than another person just think a little bit of her behavior. And my process inside me depends only on me. It's like, I don't know, pregnancy, maybe you should spend several months with your baby and then a woman can give the birth. This is the same process. Maybe you can carry something inside you for some period, and after that you can be free from this.
Okay, did she answer your question, Johnny?
Yeah, thank you, Mila.
Okay.
Thank you,
okay,
Johnny.
Thank you. Okay, we have Soso, and then I'll go, and then we'll wrap up. Soso, what do you think about the topic?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Soso.
Hi, Richard. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I feel like we are all victims, and no one is. We all have something to forgive. Okay. About the topic, trust and forgiveness is the act. It's not just a feeling, it's an act. You have to do something. You can't say, I will forgive you, and I still have resentment in my heart. So it is an act of no longer feeling resentful or angry against the offender, of course. And forgetting and forgiveness is, it can be for two, we can divide it to two things, in individual or in the society as a whole. Because when it comes to individuals, we when someone do harm things to us, we by the time we will forget, we will forgive for some period of time. If you don't remind us, we will forgive. But what happened is when we speak that to another person, because we interact with each other, the society has some impact on us. In individual scales, we can do that. We can forgive. But when we speak, for example, as a society, as a social matter, for example, in my country, Algeria has been colonized by French people, and for example, we can't forgive. We can't forgive because you know that we need the policy to do that as a people. Even if I forgive if I meet someone French, I can forgive them personally, but I can't speak out loud. But that I forgive that person because everyone will judge me. Because every year we celebrate our independence, we celebrate everything. We in the media they show very horrific pictures of what happened there. So it will impact you. You will forget for some time, and when you see that images, you will feel resentful what happened. So the same thing to Japan. I can say that Japanese people will never forgive Americans, for example, during the World War II. Especially every year they celebrate what happened. Americans also, they will never forgive, for example, what happened to and forget 9/11 because they celebrate it every time. They do. The media plays the role. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't forgive. You shouldn't forget. And this is what happened. So can we say that we are all forgiven? As individuals, we can forgive, but when it comes to social matters, we can never forgive because we're being judged. And what we can do is, if something happens, for example, I have French people and I have no resentment because they said I'm sorry because what happened to you. So because if they say I'm sorry, even they didn't live in that period of time, but they say I'm sorry for what happened. So they condemn what happened and they sorry. So I have no resentment for that person. But when someone supports what happened, I say I would never say I'm sorry because what happened is this is what should happen. Then you are agree with them, so I am the victim and you are offender. So I will carry the same feeling for ages and ages and ages. But I can say is whenever happens, for example, what happened to 9/11, I always say I condemn that. I don't agree what happened. I am sorry for what happened because even I have no relation what happened, but I say I'm sorry, and I say that because to have that relationship between you and me, to stop that war and carry on, because if I were you, I would do the same. So this is what we should do. And you know that the media, and there is no political will to stop this kind of things. So as a people, we are struggling with each other, and it's a problem. And we can't trust each other because we don't say it out loud. I am against what happened. I am against this and that. I don't know. I'm sorry. So that's why I don't know. It's a very complicated thing.
You know, actually, it's very, very interesting that you bring that up. Very, very interesting, because we've really been talking about more individually, right? Is what we've been talking about. But you bring up something that's really fascinating, and I don't think we're going to have time today to talk about it because we could probably go on for a long time about it. But you bring up a really interesting point that if we look at something larger than the individual, and you brought up, for example, 9/11, you could look at, what happened in China, during World War II, with the Japanese. You could look at what America did with the nuclear bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay, you could look at many examples in society in Turkey.
Yeah, also in Turkey and Armenia.
Right, and around the world, you can look at examples that here, slavery, right? So, you know, everybody in this world, every group, I think, has probably been a victim at some point in time of some injustice. Okay, I would probably find it hard to believe that that's not true. Okay, I think every. Okay, so how do you go about you know, uh, I know people here in my country, for an example, and so again, excellent point. Maybe one day we should have a dedicated topic about this because I think it's going to take time. But I know people in my country that say, for example, slavery. Okay, I don't have to apologize for slavery because maybe that was my great 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 grandparents, right? Right?
Yeah, I would ask a question if you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
mind.
yeah. Hang on one second. So, I mean, where so is that person correct when they say that it's not their responsibility, or it's a loaded question. Go ahead, Amadeus. You have a question for her? Go ahead.
Yeah, yes. So now let's imagine one thing. Okay, what if my my grandfather slapped your grandfather, and I was not born. I didn't see. Later, I was born. Am I guilty?
Slap?
Can you
What
blame
did
me?
you say? Slap?
Yeah, or let your grandfather slapped my grandfather without any reason. This is mistake.
And
So
because of that, we don't talk with each other? I don't know.
yeah, because it's the same. What happened in the past
No,
Algeria, what
it's not
happened in
the
the
same.
past in Japan, what happened in the past
No, it's
Armenian
not the same.
Armenian people,
People
it's
do
the
that.
same.
I think your point. So if I'm not putting words in your mouth, is the severity. Okay, genocide. We in many parts of the world, right? And Amadeus, in your country, things. In my country, things have happened. We basically the first people in my country committed genocide against the Native Americans. Okay, right?
Yeah, also we cannot blame all German people because of Hitler.
Right. No, I understand that point. And that's a really good point. Uh, but I think that the where Soso is coming from, and again, please tell me if I'm putting words in your mouth, is the severity of the issue is really what we're talking about here. Genocide versus slapping somebody in the face, right? Okay. Uh, I,
Same.
I,
I mean, I tried to show it in a how can I say, in an example. So because the people who are in China, maybe in Japan, maybe they didn't know. Many of them, they didn't know what they did to Chinese people. Yes, when you look at the history, they did many things, but we cannot blame them. I mean, this is my point.
But
they use
if
this
you
as
want
a
to, I'm sorry, but they are the victim, and you come from the side of the offender. What will happen if you say I'm sorry, even it's not your fault? What happened? You will have you will just break that wall that two peoples are fighting. Maybe you are the reason of two nations are coming back to each other. So what takes you to do that step? If you have no relation with that, I think that sorry is something we can say easily for letters. I think sorry for letters. It doesn't take life. Say I'm sorry.
I agree with you. If there is something wrong, even it happened in the past, the people can say, I'm sorry, no problem with this. But even he or she says, I am sorry, and if you reply or if you don't say anything with sulky face, this is not normal. That's what I meant.
No, I really like what Jamie said last time. I mean, I don't remember last time or the last before, I don't know. But he said that I am sorry for what happened to black people, even his ancestors have done. But he said, I'm sorry. I really like what he said. When we have someone from his part, I feel he's a very kind person. Even that he's sorry doesn't change anything. But if if black man hurt him, he will have a good relationship with him, because at least he say, I'm sorry. This is what the other part needs to hear, and people do not give that word anywhere. So it is a very important word.
I agree.
Okay. You know, we could spend, I tell you what, let's spend some time. I think if we finish our debate early tomorrow, let's spend some time talking about, because
can I disturb you?
What do you want to say, Saif?
Just in 1 minute. If you speak about black and white or country from another country, this also happened. But if you look what's happening now in the Middle East, and many people, they have been killed by their regimes. I mean, these are brutal dictators, and they kill their own people. And I mean, I'm speaking about the bloodiest regimes in the Middle East. Do you think that these people can easily forgive those people who have killed their people?
Do you mean Syrian regime?
I think he's saying in general, where you've had...
In general. I don't speak about one country. All the Middle East now is turmoil, I mean.
So your point, Saif, is, you know, where you have a society that feels oppressed, and maybe they've been, you know, abused by their government or, you know, whomever. Forgiveness is not always so easy, is it? And it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yes, some mistakes cannot be forgiven. I don't think these people, they will forgive the government, because many people have fled from their home countries to the Europe.
Right.
And many people were killed.
Yeah.
It is not easy to forgive them.
No, it isn't. And let me go ahead and quickly talk about. Let me go ahead and close it up. I see Amin is also here. I don't know, Amin, if you're just listening, but welcome, Amin.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. So,
that's great.
So what I want to do is I kind of want to take. That's a good segue into what I wanted to say. I've been listening to all of you. You guys all brought up some really good points, I think, some very interesting points. And that last part there, so I think you hit on something that we haven't really talked about, because, again, most of what we've been talking about is from an individual standpoint. We haven't been looking at larger groups in society, various ethnicities, maybe even religious, groups, etc. We haven't really been talking about that. So I think that's worthwhile. Maybe tomorrow when we finish the debate, we ought to spend some time, because that's actually a very, I think, worthwhile thing to talk about in more detail. Okay, so let me tell you what I think, though, about this topic. Okay, so I think, first of all, everything we believe, and again, these are obviously my opinions because I'm the one speaking. Okay, so I believe that everything is tied to our values and beliefs. Everything. Okay. And what do I mean by that? We hold certain values important to us or dear to us, right? Honesty, trust, compassion, kindness, certain values we hold dear to us. Okay. For me, I have belief in a higher being. Okay. That's my belief. Okay, so everything I think about in life in terms of forgiveness or trust is related to these two things. Okay, so for me, I'm the kind of person I trust pretty easily. Okay, I'm a trusting kind of person. That's just my personality. That's my nature. Okay. Now, of course, I trust until somebody's given me reason not to trust. Okay. And I think a lot of people are like that. They trust until they're given a reason not to trust. Okay. Okay, safe. So for me, when I think about, again, trust is really, really important. We see that in our relationships with people, whether they're personal relationships, professional relationships, right? If we're working with coworkers, when I was in the military, the people we work with, okay, it's very important to trust the people we work with. Okay, whether it's, again, our family, right, our brothers or sisters, our parents, whatever. Okay, So trust is very, very important. It's probably one of the most important factors in a relationship, if not the most important. Okay. So that's trust. Let me talk about forgiveness. I think forgiveness is something that again, I agree with what a lot of people said. There is no one time that everybody says, okay, after 60 days, you have to forgive. No, okay? 90 days, no. 1 day, no. 1 year, no. Okay, we're all different, okay? But Mila gave us a good example with a rock on your chest. And I strongly believe in this, okay? That the ability to forgive is such a wonderful release. I've always thought about this way. I'm going to use the rock metaphor, okay, that Mila talked about. If you think about putting a big rock on your chest, right? It doesn't allow anything else to enter into you, okay, because it's blocking, okay? When you remove that rock, now all these other things that in the past couldn't come into you can, okay? So again, when you learn to forgive, you also learn to trust again, okay? When you learn to forgive, you learn to love again, okay? When you learn to forgive, it's a to me, it's a self-healing process, okay? It heals us, okay? Forgiveness is now, that doesn't mean that we should let go of it and we should forgive everybody all the time immediately. But to me, it is part of a healing process that we have. I'm going to give you guys one example, okay? And some of you know this, and I won't get into the details, but I think for me, since we're talking about our own lives, I think it's probably the best example I can give, okay? So when my teenage son was killed some years ago by somebody with a gun, there was a lot of anger there, okay? A lot of confusion, okay? And a long search to try and understand it, okay? So for me, I've forgiven inside my heart those people that did that, okay? You can't bring people back. You can't, okay? As much as we want to, maybe sometimes we can't, okay? What's gone is gone, okay? If we are a believer in a higher being, maybe we'll see them again one day, but for right now, we can't bring them back, okay? So for me, I've forgiven that part. What was harder for me was to forgive myself, okay? Because I had a different relationship with my son and my daughter. I spent a lot more time with my daughter. She lived with me. And I didn't have that same kind of time with my son. So for me, I spent a long time feeling guilty that I didn't spend the kind of time that I did with him like I did with my daughter, okay? And it was something that took a much longer period of time to get over, okay? The people that committed this act of murder, there's no sense holding out anger at them, okay? What happened. You can't change that. So for me, the harder thing was to forgive myself because of my feelings of guilt for not spending the time. But in the end, eventually, at some point in time, I turned that into something positive. That's why I got involved with mentoring. That's why I got involved with Dreams in Motion. Was exactly because of that. That's what motivated me to do what I did. So my point is that when we learn to forgive, it opens up doors to other areas. We can take that negative feeling and turn it into something that can be positive and productive and help people instead of holding something negative inside of us. I'm a strong believer that, we only have so much time on this earth and we should use it the best way we can. It doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes. Sure, we all screw up, right? We all hurt people, whether we mean to or not. Probably most of the time it's not intentional, but we do it, okay? We're humans. We're not perfect, okay? And we're going to do that. But the act of forgiveness is really, really important. It doesn't mean it's easy, okay? But it's important. So anyway, that's all I have to say, okay? So any questions before we wrap up? Okay. So listen, I really want to thank all of you for participating today. You know, we're not, you know, none of us, as far as I know, are psychiatrists or therapists. Okay, okay, we're teachers, we're engineers, we're students. Okay, we're graphic designers, we're managers, whatever we are. Okay, the point is that, you know, everything that everybody shared today is really important, because when you share things from your heart, the heart doesn't lie. Okay, now people's words might not tell the truth, but the heart doesn't lie. Okay, so I think it's important that when we share these things, we share them the way we feel them, and we may not agree with each other in some things, and that's okay. Okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with people. Okay, but the point is that, you know, these two things we're talking about, healing, or I'm sorry, not healing, forgiveness and trust, these are individual things. Okay, you know, we own these things. They are part of who we are. And, you know, and it's not for anyone to judge another person and say, well, you should forgive that. No, it's up to the person, and if and when they're ready, they'll do so. Okay. But again, from my own perspective, and I'll go back to Mila, that image you showed us with the rocks over your chest. That is so powerful, because that's what it feels like to me when somebody does something to me and I lose that trust in that person. It feels like I've got a big rock and I can't breathe, like I'm suffocating. Okay, it's hard to breathe. Okay, and that's what it's like. And think about walking around in your life with a big rock on your back, or a big rock on your stomach, or on your chest. Okay, it doesn't feel good. Okay, so you know, when we're ready, you know, I think all of us would probably agree forgiveness is a good thing. It doesn't mean that we're all going to, you know, forgive. You know, we're all different. But, you know, in my case, I forgave the people that, you know, they killed my son. I had a hard time forgiving myself, to be honest. But, you know, if we find the right path, you know, we'll be able to overcome those things and move in the right direction. So, okay. Alrighty, so thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate you guys making the time to be here. You guys are all awesome, wonderful, fantastic, great people. Thank you for sharing your stories. I know sometimes it's not easy, because some of the stuff gets pretty personal, and I know that. Okay, so thank you for sharing your stories. Okay. And we'll see you guys later. And remember, tomorrow's the debate. And I hope all of you have a good evening. Be healthy, happy, and safe. Okay? All right? Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye everyone.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Bye.